All right, we are here today with Andy Brookover of Benchmark Realty. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And this is Jenga with Jeremy. It's our episode number 12.
I love it.
So
love it.
yeah,
happy to be the 12th.
I know. Well, thank you for joining us. So, but go ahead and get started. When's the last time you played Jenga?
Oh man, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
Well, I've played. This will be my 12th time, and I'm not getting any better. So if that tells you anything, so it's definitely. We've had some people move like the whole thing over like on the second try, and I'm like, man, we're gonna get 3 questions in.
Yeah, right.
So if we knock it off too early, we'll just talk.
Okay, that's fine.
But go ahead and start, and then I'll ask my questions as we're going.
Okay. So, do I start at the bottom or top?
You can go wherever you want.
I'll start right here. Well, maybe I won't. I'll start
just
right
find something easy, and then you'll just stack it back up on top, alternating. So, and then if there's a question, if there's a question, we'll get it answered. If not, I'll just ask you. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think last time we spoke, you said you grew up in Ohio, right?
That's where I was born.
Okay.
Yeah, I was, and then moved to Knoxville, Tennessee as a youngster.
Okay, so how long did you live in Ohio?
13 years.
Okay. So, that was my first question is what was life growing up in Ohio, and what brought you to stay in Tennessee?
I was a little kid in Ohio, so it was pretty cool having family, being surrounded by family, grandparents and cousins and that kind of thing, because when you're a youngster like that, man, your cousins are your best friend. You're spending a lot of time with your grandparents. So that was really the most, wonderful part of it.
Yeah.
And then, so what took us to Knoxville was my dad's job. He transferred with his job. He was with the company for 40 years, which is kind of unheard of these days.
It is unheard of.
So that brought us to Knoxville, and that's kind of where I like to say that's where I grew up, because that's really kind of like the more impressionable formative years. And so there's always a special place for both Ohio and Knoxville.
But your family, but your parents moved back to Ohio?
My parents did recently, about 5 years ago.
Okay, that's
because they still have siblings and family, and felt like that was
same town you grew up in, or similar to it. Okay.
Very.
All right, cool. That's good. All right, well, I went ahead, I snuck one out while you're talking, so it's your turn.
Cool. Oh, my turn.
Yep.
Okay. We'll go for this one.
That one was easy, huh?
No question. No question.
All right, so the question I have next is, what's the most pivotal, this is a tough one you have to think about maybe, but what's the most pivotal moment in your 30-year real estate career? Do you remember something that
it's
really...
23. Oh, excuse me.
23. I don't know. I might not was thinking 30-ish.
21.
Okay.
21. But
so
that's
your
okay.
21-year career.
Pivotal year. You remember that downturn we had around about 2008, 2009? That was really a challenging time. And I say it was pivotal. It was more so a challenging time that, with a lot of hard work and determination, pushed through when, quite frankly, it was very difficult. And it was also during that time that I transitioned to Benchmark Realty, which has been fantastic. And I would say very pivotal in terms of meeting my needs as an agent. And that's where I've been ever since. So
Gotcha.
I would say that would be, quite a important time in my career.
So you started in 03, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so I started in 04 in this business.
Okay,
so
all right.
I realized we're that
we're
close.
tracking together here.
Yeah. All right. Oh, there's a question on this one. What's a new skill or area you want to explore? Is there something like on a personal level or anything that you're getting into, like something?
On a personal level.
Or it doesn't have to be, but I mean, like hobbies or...
Hey, on a personal level, there are, when you live in a home for so long and there's so many, handyman type things. Now, I have some things that I can do, but then other things are over my head, but I'm always looking to expand that skill set. But, quite frankly, some of those things are more challenging than others. So I'm just really thankful that I've got a good book of contacts that can help when I'm in over my head, because if it involves electric, or plumbing beyond a certain
You know your
level.
limits, though, right?
Yeah, I know my limits.
You gotta know your limits. If
You
not, you're gonna be.
You don't want to flood the house.
My limits are I just don't try any of it.
You just don't.
And
Yeah.
every now and then I got to put a ceiling fan up, and my wife's always like, "Just don't do it."
Oh, boy,
I don't want to
yeah.
hear you yelling and cussing and other stuff. So,
yeah, small parts and small.
if it all goes
places.
perfectly fine, I'm great. But as soon as something doesn't fit or it gets loose, I'm like, "What am I doing?" You know, I'm all crabby. And
I've had those
so,
moments.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, it's your turn again.
My turn again. You know, this is probably a different environment than the last time I played Jenga.
I can imagine.
I'm digging.
We get that from a lot of people. That was kind of what it stemmed from, is from the extracurricular game you play with Jenga. So with the questions. My next question was about your Keller Williams to Benchmark move. So was that move difficult at all? I mean,
No.
I know it was a big transition for you.
Much respect to them as well, because they served my needs at a time that I needed to be served in a certain way. So really not difficult. Just kind of one of those things when you know it's right, it's right.
Yeah. And how many years? When did you go? In 08?
Let's see, 2010.
2010. Okay, so after the big economic downturn and the challenges, then you made the move a couple years later.
Yeah, it was still a little challenging during that time period. If you'll recall, here in Middle Tennessee, that whole downturn was somewhat delayed as compared to other major cities at the time. Nashville was still a good-sized city, but nowhere near what we are now today.
It really started taking off maybe like 10 years ago, maybe or so. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
What's your favorite holiday?
My favorite holiday?
And why?
Oh man. Well,
Should we go ahead and say Halloween?
That's right. Yeah, hey, if you need some pumpkins, come see us at the Cooper Trooper Foundation Pumpkin Patch, please. But no, I love Thanksgiving because you get to see so much of your family.
Yeah.
And my wife and I have a lot of family on both her side and my side, and typically we host, and so it's just one big fantastic time.
I agree. I like Thanksgiving.
And it just really is a special time.
Yeah.
To be with the people that you love the most.
Yeah, that's great. All right, your turn. I snuck this bottom one out.
I thought I was gonna keep going for the. Here we go. Oh wait.
You can go. It's
I can do that.
Yeah, we don't have any.
We'll just keep going up.
We don't have any major rules there. It's fine. How does your day-to-day life differ now than when you're first getting started in real estate?
Well, as far as the business is concerned itself, really the principles are still the same, right? Cultivating relationships with the people that you would love to be able to help, making those phone calls, doing your pop-bys, having face-to-face conversations like this. So really, in terms of the business itself, not much has changed. It's just staying on focus, focusing on the process, trusting that process, and following through with it, right?
Yeah.
Where life has changed for me is, during that time period, I've become married and have 3 amazing stepsons, and so incorporating family into your work-life balance, making sure that you have the time for your business and your family, and hopefully a little bit of time to come hang out with cool guys like you, Jeremy, right?
Yeah.
So
That's right.
it's just really about obtaining that balance.
That's good. That's awesome. I think you went last, didn't you?
I did. I
think.
It kind of goes fast here on this.
I know.
When we're playing live, right?
Yeah. All right.
That's quite a move there.
Nothing on
Wow.
that one.
Oh boy.
Well, this kind of goes to what you were just talking about. Obviously, I've known Missy for a long time, but how has your partnership with Missy impacted your life?
Oh, in the most amazing, beautiful way. I don't know what I would do without her at this point. She's got a heart of gold. And she just has that ability to pour into people. And when you get to be a part of that, as I've told her a million times, for me, it's a front row seat.
Yeah.
You know, so it's
I've seen it, and yeah, it's great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, your go.
My go. Let's see here.
What advice do you have for newbies getting into the real estate world?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, I think that they need to understand that like it requires a high level of intensity in terms of your drive and desire. I would say it's always extremely important that you put other people's needs first, and that begins with understanding what their needs are. Because if you really don't understand what their needs are, you know, what are you trying to accomplish, right? How are you trying to help them? And so I would just always say dig in, understand what's important to each and every buyer and seller or potential client, because it's different for everyone. Mm-hmm. And you can't ever assume that it's going to be the same thing every time. You've got to really dig in and be connected with that person and be in tune with what's important to them.
Yeah,
so that's my advice.
That's good advice. All right, my turn. Oh boy. All right, let's see what else we have. Squeeze one out. Oh, well, we got it on there. All right, well, it's a fun one. I'll ask you this, and I'll ask you the other question too.
Okay.
If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Superpower? Huh. That's a great question, man.
Yeah.
Superpower. You've got me stumped for the first time here today. I'm actually stumped. I'll say, man, wouldn't it be cool to put on that invisible cloak?
Yeah.
And kind of walk around and
like the Harry Potter cloak?
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
I mean, that would be pretty cool. What does being active in your family's life mean to you? Obviously, you're going back to this, but I know you have 3 stepsons, and it sounds like you're very active in what they're doing, but how has that impacted your life, and what does that mean to you?
You have a chance every day, and you're always hoping, hey, and praying, I hope that I'm making a positive impact, you know? And whether it's coaching basketball or working with them at the pumpkin patch, or just, I tell you, one of my favorite things currently is teaching Cooper how to drive.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of him because he's doing an amazing job with it. Even though he's nervous, he's knocking it out of the park. I think it's going to be great. For the first time, Jeremy, we may have a teenage driver that a claim doesn't have to be filed. You know, so won't that be amazing?
Andy trained.
But you get those golden moments that when you can see your handiwork, it does something to you.
Yeah, it does. And it's like coaching, but it's at a higher level, right?
Much higher level.
Somebody in your family.
Exactly.
So that's cool. Yeah.
My favorite.
Did I?
Did you go?
Know.
I'll go.
All right. I can't remember. Did you get one on there?
Yep.
All right. All right. So then going back to, this is obviously a big part of your life too, but can you share how Cooper Trooper Foundation has impacted your life and your association with that? And just for I don't know if I ever know this, but how did you get, like, because is that where did you meet Missy prior to the Cooper Trooper, or did you meet her through, like,
I did. I met her and Rod before there was a Cooper Trooper Foundation.
Okay. So you've known them for a long time. But
okay. When they moved to Franklin, they moved to a neighborhood that I happen to have very dear and close friends with. And so, one evening we were all gathering for football, and we've got 2 new people. And so and then a few years later, the pumpkin patch started. Yeah. And so, I'm like you. I've been a volunteer at the pumpkin patch for 14 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And so, and also a sponsor. Rod came to me and asked me to be a sponsor, and so I did, and the rest is history in terms of how that all began.
Yeah, how you got lined up with that. And then, I mean, as far as like now your current role with Cooper Troopers,
I'm still a volunteer.
You got both feet in, both hands in.
I'm still
what is on a outside? We know the pumpkin patch, obviously,
right.
But outside of that, on like just an everyday basis or regular basis, like what does that look like as far as the?
I like to say it like this: I'm a volunteer like you. But I take great pride in kind of being, like a rock for Missy. Like if she's got ideas to bounce off of me. I always love to hear those ideas. It's kind of, it can be a stressful time, especially for her. So I always look at it like, okay, hey, my job right now is not so much related to the pumpkin patch itself as it is just, pouring into her.
Yeah.
And making those challenging times maybe a little bit less challenging. And so, that's the way I.
But you guys have turned into a really cool community event.
I mean,
it's
time.
like I think people, if you ever decided to change gears and go a different direction, people would be upset.
Because
they go there every Halloween.
After 14 years, times, and we've got so many people that come up there every year. You recognize the faces, and you develop relationships with those people as well. And that's probably the biggest thing. Is just, and you can relate to this, think about all of the amazing people that you have volunteered with over the past 14 years and the relationships that you've been able to develop with them. I'm not so sure that you could do that in the absence of that event.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And
cool.
You guys have a great group of people there.
Well, and you're part of it.
Like Missy's wonderful, you're wonderful, but those other ladies that, Delisa and like a handful, they are just rock stars.
There is a whole cast of
studs,
amazing people that the general public may or may not be aware of, but they're there, and without
Molly
them,
and Jeremy and all,
and without them, it would be impossible.
Yeah. It's really neat. It's really neat to see how it's grown.
And I'm proud to be part of that contingency, as you are.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's really cool. All right, it's your turn again.
My turn. No, that one doesn't want to get. We'll make this little guy. Give him a look.
So how did you, 21 years ago, how did you choose real estate? Oh, did you get a question on there?
I do.
All right,
Is it my turn to ask you?
No, yeah. No, we want to hear about you.
Fun fact about you, most people wouldn't know. Well, I think it's fun, but most people wouldn't know that, like, I really enjoy cooking.
Oh, cool.
And the family tells me I'm pretty good at it, and other people do too, so it's a real easy way, hopefully, to put a smile on somebody's face. One thing that Missy and I love doing is... everybody goes through rocky times in life, health issues, whatever the case might be. We love preparing meals for them during those times. Just a little something to take a little small, tiny piece of their daily load off of them.
Yeah.
And that's something that most people don't know about me, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So
that's a great hobby and I guess positive attribute to have, I think. So, all right. So my turn, and I'm gonna. Well, do you have a favorite book?
A favorite book,
or a book you read recently, either personal, professional, like something that just sat with you really well.
Stuck with me.
This may be bad.
When I'm feeling pushed, I'll usually go back to like John Maxwell type books.
Yeah.
Just to kind of get re-grounded. And get refocused if I'm having, focus issues and what have you. And so that I would say that would be my typical go-to in those situations.
Speaking of focus, I had to focus on that.
Yeah, I can tell.
It's really tight. It's wobbly. Those are always good. I always like. I categorize them as self-help books, but that makes me feel like I'm like there's something wrong with me. So like personal growth, personal development.
Personal growth,
books.
I like that. Yeah,
those are always my favorite books too. So, so how do you calm your mind after a busy day? Like, is there something that a go-to for you that that you can kind of rely on to take stress away, to calm your day?
Back when I was a little bit younger, I did a lot of running.
Okay.
And the running really would help clear out the mind a little bit. But these knees are old, these feet are old, and I'll be honest with you, it hurts.
Yeah.
And I can't do that like I used to. But one of my favorite things is when Missy and I go out for a walk and just
check it out.
Clears the mind.
Yeah.
Take one of the boys to go hit a bucket of golf balls over at Franklin Bridge.
Yeah.
Love that, because now you're not only clearing your mind, but hopefully you're building a future, because that's something that anybody can do for most of the rest of their life. And if we can get out now when they're young and hit balls, then hopefully the intention is that when they're older, that'll be a great way for me to spend time with them, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, that's how I clear my mind.
All right, that's great. Well, it's your turn, and I think we're...
Oh, wait, I can't get that one. Get this one. Are you running out of questions?
No, I got plenty of questions.
Oh, boy.
I was paying attention because I'm getting nervous about my next turn. All right, so I have all the rage these days on, like, at least my social media feed and stuff is all the life hacks. It's all the biohacking.
Okay.
It's all the cold showers, cold plunges, meditations, red light therapy. Is there anything like that you've ever tried, or you ever taken a cold,
I've never heard
cold
of
plunge, cold shower?
I did take a polar bear plunge one.
Did you?
New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Down in the Gulf.
Okay.
And man, I want to tell you, it was intense.
Yeah.
I mean,
was it just in and out, or you stayed in for a while?
Oh, if I was going to do it, I was going to go full bore. So like I ran out there and I'm going, I don't know if this is a good idea. And the only way to get through that, I dove right in. And for about 3 minutes, man, I thought, that was a bad idea. I was freezing.
So you stayed in for that long?
But it was a rush.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a total, like, I can't explain it. The endorphins that kicked in, because...
Well, it's a whole thing. I mean, that's the cold plunge. That's what people are doing now. I mean, people are doing it on a daily basis. And you'll see, if you stop on one social media post, they'll just keep sending them to you, obviously. But there's all the cold plunge tubs and stuff people have. But they do this every day. I mean, put a little pain on themselves so they get the endorphins. And you're, it's supposedly really good for you. But I've tried a little bit of the cold shower thing. And it's like... I really like my shower. So it's like, at the end of it, I'm like, I got to motivate myself to take 3 minutes of a cold shower, So,
man.
But I don't do it on a regular basis.
I save it for a special occasion, so But it's quite a rush.
All right. That's cool. That's cool. That was you last, right? All right.
I think
my
that
turn.
was.
Do you have a favorite podcast? Are you listen to podcasts?
It's somewhat of a guilty pleasure, if you don't mind. But I love those crime podcasts, where they have like, former detectives and that kind of stuff on there. I mean, I just think it's thrilling because it really happened, but thank God it won't ever happen to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I've never listened to those, but I've heard a lot of people going on trips and stuff, they'll listen to them, but I can only imagine how they're probably very entertaining.
No podcasts in your life?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah, I do.
You do have, okay.
So I've gotten big into the mindfulness, like spirituality, meditation space. And so there's a couple guys that I follow on there, and they'll interview people, and it's really intriguing to me on people's minds and how they work and how they work against you, and you can also formulate them. And I think a lot of the stress and things that we create in our own lives are created in our own lives. I guess what I'm saying is like a lot of the stress, it really probably shouldn't be there, but in our minds, we're like...
In our mind?
Yeah.
I would agree.
And so
100%.
when you do the meditation, when you get mentally grounded, when you do some of these things, you can change a lot of what's upstairs and change, and it has an actual physical change to your bodies and stuff too. So
we'll have to talk about that.
Well, yeah. So there's some podcasts. There's some of the biohacking that's like there's a Gary Brecka that does a lot of the it's nutrition based, but it's also the red light therapies and the cold plunges and talking about the nutritional or the health benefits to those. And so I listen to some of that stuff, and it's really intriguing to me, something I've gotten into recently.
You feel that it works for you when you...
I mean, I think yes. The problem I have is doing it consistently. It's just, I try it, like the cold showers. I try it and I like it, but it's a challenge. It's like exercising every day. You find reasons not to do it. Sure. It's the same thing, meditations and these activities. Other things come and jump in front of it, even when you know it's really important.
Yeah. So for you find that you have to be really purposeful with it in order for it to work.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
if work gets overwhelming, I put work ahead. If whatever it is, I put something ahead of those things, and I know they're probably the most important thing I could do. Everybody knows you should exercise, right? But we're all finding reasons not to do it.
Right.
Or not everybody is, but a lot of people do. So it's the same thing. But I think it's for your mind. It's like exercise for your mind.
If we incorporate that into our daily schedule, and then hold that as important.
Yeah, I think it can make your life go in a really different path, and it would be positive things, I think.
Great things. You'll have to after this meeting. You'll have to tell me about a couple.
Yeah, I have a couple that I follow.
Or tell the crowd now. Tell the audience now.
Well, the one that I just listened to this morning there's a book, and I've talked about this on some other Jenga things, but it's his name's Kute Blackson. And he's a spiritual teacher. He does these workshops, and he does them in Bali, where he has people come out and they do this whole spiritual, I forget what he calls them, but he's very much into all that. But he interviews people all the time, and he was talking to somebody this morning, and just her outlook on life, and she was talking about manifesting things and the steps you go through to manifest. And I'm a believer of those type things, but I think you have to have your mind right to be able to get to those. And so that's the one I would start with. He's a really friendly, easy guy to listen to. Everything's positive. That's what I like about it too. Coming out of COVID, everything was so tough and negative, and to have, to find people that are in the mindfulness stage or space, everything they teach is positive. They're not hating on anyone. It's all about getting people's minds.
I appreciate that actually,
and things going in the right direction.
Cole Blackman,
Kute Blackson.
Kute Blackson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kute and then Blackson.
Okay. Awesome.
But I can share it with you. It's really cool. I would start with that. So that's a cool place to be.
When you get noise clanging around.
Yeah.
Have you found that kind of noise can be your own worst enemy?
Oh yeah. And that's all it is. Yeah.
You're like, get out.
Yeah.
And it's just it's nice to be able to focus on, as you said, positive things, and not let the other stuff that I call noise get in the way. Because if it does, and I've also noticed that people that are highly effective at that have this really awesome ability to, it becomes contagious.
Yes,
right?
I agree. Yeah.
So there are certain people that when they walk into a room,
there's an energy about them.
It's like a breath of fresh air or a bright light.
I believe it's a real thing. I think that some people come by it naturally. Some people, work on it, but it is a thing.
We'll have to talk about that a little bit more, because I need to do some of that myself.
Yeah.
Just clear out the junk.
Yeah.
Do you remember Zig Ziglar?
Yeah.
Remember what he used to say?
Oh, I don't know.
He would say, you need a checkup from the neck up. Do you remember that?
I've heard a lot of his sayings. He's great.
And that stuck with me.
Yeah.
I haven't always, kept that in mind, but it has stuck with me.
Yeah.
And as we're talking here, it kind of comes back. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Check up from the neck up.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, I'll definitely share more stuff with you. So, it's your turn. We're getting wobbly, and let's see.
To all of my 7 friends or 5 that are watching, wow, I dropped the ball.
Yeah, I have one more question for you.
Oh yeah,
because there was a good one I wanted to ask you, and it's right in line with what we were just talking about. So, we've known each other for several years. Probably just got to know each other the last couple of years, and it goes. What you just talked about is a lead in to exactly what my question was. I have this written down, so you can, it's not a lie. But you have that energy about you that you were just talking about.
I do?
I truly believe that, yes.
Wow.
You have an infectiously positive energy about you. So you walk into a room, you walk into the pumpkin patch, and I feel like the energy just changes. And so I was going to ask you
for the good,
for the
saying.
great, yeah, for the
just want to
great.
clarify.
No, and I'm not. I mean, you see right here, you have an infectiously positive. So I was before I even talked to you about it, right? So, what's your secret? Like, what is there something that I know you said you need to work on it? Everybody feels they need to work on it, but I think you've gotten a lot of things right. Like, what is there something that, like a self-talk thing, or something that you've done, or someone in your life that's impacted you to get in this direction, or like what do you think?
I'll be honest with you. My knee-jerk reaction, is kind of like if you ever go to the doctor and they hit your knee and your leg flies, you can't control that. And so it automatically happens. And so as I'm listening to you, my automatic knee reaction is, it's really, I mean, to be deeply honest with you,
have no idea.
It's out of necessity.
Okay.
Because, I mean, I can't imagine like living mentally in a negative place, and just giving that, showing people that it doesn't have to be this way, that like you can actually
Well, and just to kind of throw in there, I even asked Missy at one point. I was like, "Is Andy always like this, like positive and happy and smiling?" She's like, "Yes, like this is him." And she's like, "It's amazing." I mean, she just was going on and on about you. So, so there's something there. So don't change.
Well, thank you.
You're doing
Jeremy.
great.
Thanks,
So
bud. I appreciate that.
But did you have anything else that you wanted to throw in there?
Along those lines, no, man. Just get out there. I always say, do good things and have fun doing them.
Yeah.
Because think about this, right? This is so obvious, right? If you can't do good things and have fun doing them, then like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, and why?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Do good things and have fun doing them.
Yeah.
And I'll just leave it at that.
That's great. And then if anybody out here is looking ways to track you down?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to help any of our listeners out there to sell their home or make their next purchase, regardless of their experience level. My primary focus is here in Williamson County. I can always be reached at 615-403-2091. I'll be happy to help. Just reach out and give me a shout, and we'll get together and talk.
All right. Thanks a bunch, man.
Yeah, man.
That was a lot of
Jeremy,
fun.
thank you.